as Dr. Mapura indicated, if there is anyone that is not consenting to be recorded, please advise so that we know. Technically, we can't remove you, so if you do not consent, then we are requesting that you please remove yourself. So welcome everybody to my presentation today. I'm doing a presentation on APA 7th edition. Please advise if you can see the slides.
Yes, we are able to. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for being here today. This presentation is mainly geared towards students. I'm not going to use really big words or anything, so that we have a good understanding and are able to understand what we need to do moving forward. So this is, as I said, this is for students. If you have questions, put it in the chat box, and at the end of the presentation, we can go through some of the more technical things. I can show you how Turnitin looks when you submit the document, what it looks like when the document comes back, and what is highlighted and indicated. So those are some of the more technical things we can do afterwards. So let me start this presentation by introducing you to APA 7th edition. Yeah. So APA 7th edition is a name, date, format, citation, or referencing format. What that means is that when you are referencing, you put the name and the. So most disciplines in psychology mainly, and many other disciplines, use APA as a referencing tool. Yeah. So there's some terminology when you are, okay, one last thing. I tend to speak really fast. If you do have a problem, please put it in the chat box to indicate that I need to speak a bit slower. And Dr. Mapura will send me a WhatsApp. So I'm watching my WhatsApp to see if there's any indication that I should speak slower. So I'm not going to be able to check the chat box because I'm in presentation mode. So just to do some terminology. When we speak about a reference list, this is the information that you provide to whoever's reading your document at the end of the document, right? A parenthetical citation means that the citation or the reference is between brackets. A narrative citation is when you are using the author's surname in the actual writing of the sentence. So when we are talking about in-text citation, we are going to use a narrative citation or a parenthetical citation. We do not put the full reference inside a text. Full reference information is provided in the reference list. The reason for this is when we are writing a document, other people need to verify what we have written. And so that is why we provide all other information in the reference list to allow for people to be able to go look for what it is that we are using. So just some information about definitions. So if we read the publication manual for the American Psychological Association, plagiarism is defined as follows. Plagiarism is the act of presenting the words, ideas, or images of another as your own. It denies another or creators of content the credit they are due. Whether deliberate or unintentional, plagiarism violates ethical standards in scholarship. See, for example, APA Ethics Code Standard 8.11 or plagiarism. Also, you can refer to the Health Professions Act of South Africa, 56 of 1974. There's a full chapter on referencing and publication. And even in that document, it states that plagiarism is unethical. So for those of you who are registered counselors or psychologists in one or other of the different divisions, we are mandated to follow the Health Professions Act. So please let us practice good scholarship. Right? Writers who plagiarize disrespect the efforts of original authors by failing to acknowledge their contributions, stifle further research by preventing readers from tracing ideas back to the original source, and unfairly disregard those who exert the effort to complete their own work. Right. So, what are some of the consequences for plagiarism? If you are a student, your lecturer will fail your assignment or research project, thesis, or dissertation. It's actually a big problem for a student if you have plagiarized. Now, I've been working in academia for quite some time, and I've noticed that many students copy and paste when they're under high time pressure. So if you have an assignment due tomorrow, if you don't have sufficient time, people tend to copy and paste. And at the end of the day, that is something that you as a student, you really need to manage your time. If you know that you have an assignment due, try and work on it piece by piece so that by the end that you do not feel the pressure of having to copy and paste, because at the end of the day, it's worth failing. So let us do what we are able to do and control what we are able to control. If you are a student and you're hoping to work in academia one day, or you want to publish, if you are caught plagiarizing, you could be rejected by future accreditation journals, and you will possibly be censored by future employers. Now, we know we don't want to diminish our opportunities in the future. So for students specifically, let's protect ourselves. This presentation is meant to help you to control the things you're able to control. Referencing you can control. Academic writing you can control. I'm trying to not think, there's something else I'm remembering. So as I'm saying, referencing and academic writing are things within your control and things that you can get good at. So don't leave things to the last minute. Don't leave putting your reference list to the last minute, because it will not be good for you. But it really does take quite a lot to format a reference list according to APA 7th edition. Okay, so some important information. Why is referencing important? Referencing is important because it ensures that your referencing or sources can be checked or verified, as I mentioned in the definition. It demonstrates the quality of your reading. It enables external examiners to check the article that you are referencing, and it protects you as a student and those that are researchers from copyright infringement. Right, and we give credit to the authors of the information. Also, as I said, it affects your marks in the end, and the external examiner will look really poorly upon work submitted to them that have been plagiarized. So let's protect ourselves and get up to doing what we need to. So as I said, you have in-text citations. This is inside the written document. Where all your words appear, that is in text. The reference list comes at the end of the document, or depending on what it is you are submitting. If you are submitting a research proposal, you might have the text, and then you might have your reference list, then your addendums. Right. So when you're referencing, when must you reference? You generally reference when you paraphrase, when you do a direct quote, when you refer to a quote or words of others, when you refer to data or data sets, when you reprint or adapt a table or figure or images from the internet. Now, on the internet, there is an Open Commons license. Just because it is in Open Commons does not mean that you are allowed to copy and paste and present the information as though it is your own. So please reference, where did you get that information from? Also, the last thing when it is that you reference when you provide a long passage. Now, I'm not going to speak today about paraphrasing, but paraphrasing is not when you copy and paste a paragraph and change a few words in it. That is not paraphrasing. If you want information on how to paraphrase and write well, please use YouTube to get more information, right? Okay, so in text citation. So my experience has been that sometimes students copy and paste the references that they have read in an article. Now, this is bad form, and it's bad form for the following reasons, right? It shows a lack of preparation on your side. When you copy, okay, let me start at the beginning. If you have read Babi and Mouton, and we know everybody reads Babi and Mouton when they are doing research. So if you read Babi and Mouton and he references 5 or 6 other articles in his or in their book, you can't copy those references and put it in yours. You can't do that because you must read the articles yourself and say what it is that you have understood. Right? So refrain from copying and pasting other people's references and putting it in your own. It shows a bit of laziness when you're copying and pasting other people's references, and that is unethical. Also, you can use as cited in. So if Babi and Mouton referenced Abrams, then you can reference according to Abrams in brackets 2020 as cited in Bobby and Mouton. Okay, can't be 2020. Bobby and Mouton 2021. Right? So please, you can use cited in, but preferably don't use cited in. When you are writing your introduction, generally you don't put references. However, some people say put in references. So as I would say later on, and I keep repeating this, follow the guidance of your supervisor or lecturer so that you know what it is that is expected, right? So you need to reference throughout your document, but don't only use one reference throughout the document. When Dr. Bashirati from Wits University presented on how to do a literature review, she said you need to present the information in the format of an this person said this, however, this person said this, and as the researcher, I am concluding as follows. So it's a better scholarship to indicate more than one reference in a paragraph to demonstrate to the reader that you know where you are situated in the literature or in whatever it is that you are writing. Right? When you're writing and there's a long paragraph, don't just put the reference at the end. Right? Try and reference throughout the presentation or throughout the thing that you are writing. Now, when you're writing an assignment or a research proposal or a thesis or dissertation, it's really important that you write on a piece of paper all the references that you have used. If you used Abrams 2012, Mouton and Babi and Mouton 2018, you write on the piece of paper all the different references that you have used inside your text. Then you go to your reference list and you go and look, have you used Abrams? Have you referenced Abrams? Yes. Then you scratch it out. Have you referenced Babi and Mouton? Then you scratch it out. At the end, after you verify that your in-text references and your reference list correspond, if you have 40 in-text references, you need to have 40 references in your reference list. Now, this method I learned from my HOD, Dr. Takalani. He showed me how to do this practically. And what is useful about writing this down on a piece of paper is that you can verify and check the spelling of people's surnames, the year of publications. You can make sure that whatever it is that you wrote inside your document is the same as in your reference list. Now, we all know that whether you are a student or whether you're studying a postgraduate qualification, when you are writing, you don't always make the time to go and paste the references in a reference list. And so this process of cross-checking and verifying is really, really important. Also, when you are doing this process of writing all the references on the page and checking it against the reference list, it also helps you to check that the order of the surnames are correct. Now, referencing, it really provides a lot of anxiety. So I remember when I was an undergraduate student in my 4th year, a professor scolded at me and a number of other students about not referencing. So I had under-referenced in my particular assignment that I had submitted. And this was actually quite problematic because after under citation, I then used to oversight after every sentence, put a citation. And you want to find a balance between underciting and oversighting, because at the end of the day, you want your document to be readable. It must be easy to read. And if you provide too many references, it becomes distracting to the person that is reading your document. And we know we want to make whoever's reading our document happy, because we're going to get higher marks if we are making sure that what we have written is easy to read, what we have written doesn't have too many references, but what we have referenced is accurate. So it's really important that when you are referencing, that you reference what you have read. If somebody has not said something that you want to reference, mostly when you're at PhD level, you are allowed to say what it is that you have written. However, according to NQF levels, if you're undergraduate and at honors level, you're generally not expected to write what your thoughts are on a particular topic, because you are expected to demonstrate the skill. So you can go and check a national qualifications framework, NQF levels 7, 8, or 8, 9, and 10 to see what are the different things that are expected of you. Right, so find the balance. Don't oversight, but also underside. People credit where credit is due. Okay, provide accurate information, especially when things are online. In today's day and age, everything is online. So be careful about using a DOI address or any other online source that is no longer recoverable or you can't access it. So check and make sure that you can access the information that you are providing. Okay. So, in-text citation. Now, in-text citation can be problematic if you are not checking your dots and commas. Right? So, if you are providing an in-text citation and there is only one author, it is written as follows: single author, Mahpura, space, open bracket, the year of publication is 2018, close bracket, parenthetical reference. This is a narrative reference because the year of publication is between brackets. If there is more than one author, the narrative is written, or in the writing of the sentence, it must use the word and. Now, if you are 20 years old and you're used to typing and writing in WhatsApp, you tend to use lots of short communication words, LOL, laugh out loud. However, we need to be mindful that when we are writing for academic purposes, you are writing a formal document. So when you are writing a sentence, you want to make sure that you use the word and in the sentence. According to James and Mashamba, space, open brackets, 2019, close brackets. If you are writing the surnames between brackets, or as APA refers to it, parenthetical referencing, you open your brackets, James, and you use the symbol and Mashamba. So when it is between brackets, it's and the symbol. When it is in the sentence, it is and the word. Right. Now, one of the differences with APA 7th edition is that if you're not the first author, they ETALU. Right? So please take note. Previously in APA 6th edition, when it was 1 or 2 authors, they are referenced every time. If it's 3, 4, 5 authors, you reference all the authors the first time and you use ETAL for every time afterwards. However, in today's day and age, when you use APA 7th edition, you use James ETAL 2019 from the beginning. Right. So as I'm indicating, sorry, as I'm indicating here, James, please take note, comma, space, Smith, comma, space, Peters and Abrams, space, 2019 between brackets. Please take note where the spaces are. Sometimes students don't always pay attention to the spacing. So when you are using APA 7th edition, this is how it is written. James space ET space AL dot space open brackets 2019 close brackets. You don't italicize ETAL. That is something that some people perceive that you should do it, but that is not how it should be done. If you are doing multiple authors, you can put it between brackets, James space ETA space AL dot comma 2019. Okay. So, change up in text citations. When you are reading a really long document, I've marked many students' research reports, thesis, and what I find is that if you use the same style, according to Shamba, according to Manganye, the reading of the document becomes extremely repetitive, and it's really difficult to then follow an argument because as the reader you're getting distracted and the mundaneness of the referencing format is making it difficult. So what you should be doing is change up according to Arnold, as explained by Atkinson. Mashamba and Mangane explained that you write it differently. So when you are putting the reference at the beginning of your sentence, it is referred to as foregrounding the reference. You are stating this person has said this thing because you want to hitch what your argument is they have said to demonstrate that you are providing an informed opinion about something and then you hitching your argument onto that and extending it. However, when you are writing, you also want to use background referencing. So you want to say you've read multiple sources and have an understanding of the content, and you're making a sentence. Men experience a high rate of mental health problems because of the ways in which masculinity is socially constructed. When you provide the reference at the end of the sentence, it is referred to as backgrounding the reference. So you also want to play around with foregrounding references and backgrounding references. Okay. So this is some of the things that becomes problematic when a student is writing, right? When you use a reference, the literature indicates, and you do not provide a single reference in that sentence, that is problematic. Because whose literature are you using to indicate what it is that you have understood? So phrases such as the literature indicates or multiple authors have agreed, provide 2-3 references to substantiate your argument, right? These phrases are often used, and we need to be careful when we use these phrases because please, if you're going to make an argument, tell us who it is that you have read so that we know and we can give you credit for having read those articles, right? Now, using slang. When we are writing, we need to remember what is that we are writing for. Are we writing a WhatsApp message, a Facebook message, an Instagram message, or are we writing for academic purposes? Now, academic writing is not easy, and there's no person in the world that will say that it is easy. You often have to reread and edit your document multiple times, and multiple people will give you feedback on this. So when you are writing, be careful of using WhatsApp language. These days, kids, peeps, be careful of the tone that you are using when you are writing and the words that you are using, because the words convey what it is that you are thinking. And when you are writing for academic purposes, try to think about what would be the more appropriate word for the context that you are writing in, right? You can use a thesaurus to assist you, and you need to remember to try and write clearly and simply. Now, clearly and simply is not easy. I know myself. I tend to write really long sentences. And again, Dr. Busharati was really on point when she said, write short and simple, but also vary your sentence length because it improves the quality of what is being read and makes it interesting to the reader. Write on point, write concisely. Okay, so tone and voice. So when you're writing a formal document, you need to use a formal tone. So if you think about children in the community when they are talking to each other, that's informal talking. The language isn't structured. You're not thinking about what every word means and does these words all fit together and does the sentence make sense. That is normal everyday writing. And emotively so. Sometimes, I was really angry. This person did something that was wrong. I'm so frustrating. So when you are writing, you need to think about, are you presenting your argument in a way that emotional and you are trying to get the other person to understand what it is that you are writing from an emotional point of view, or are you presenting an argument that you have put together accurately and the person is following your argument and agreeing with you based on the information that you have provided. Now, I've written 2 examples here. The first one is more emotive. A lot of young people have problems that affect them. Like in the community, there are drug dealers and this affects youth. You would be shocked and surprised by the problems that drug dealers cause, and it's very frustrating. Young people are dying and dropping out of school because of this substance abuse. So if you listen to the tone, shocked and surprised, frustrating, the terminology is emotive. You're trying to get the person to agree with you based on how they feel about your topic. When you are writing for academic purposes, you are not trying to use people's emotions. Emotions can never be separated from what you are writing, but the tone in which you present it needs to be a bit more academic, right? So as I'm going to give you an example of how you could improve what you are writing. And you could say something such as the follows, and look, this is just an example. There are many people that write better than me and can write this better. But this is something that I think would be a better example. Drug dealers affect the overall number of youth influenced by substance abuse. Provide a reference. The effects of substance abuse are long-lasting and result in many maladaptive psychological and behavioral problems for youth. There's a problem with that sentence. Concerns such as high dropout for school, aggression and violence and robberies linked to substance abuse has resulted in multiple problems for the community. Okay, and. If you're using Grammarly will remove the first and put commas after school, a comma, after aggression, comma, after violence, a comma, and improve the sentence structure, right? Community members are concerned about youth, and this has resulted in initiatives that address the problem of substance abuse. So if you read the sentence, what is the purpose of the sentence? To indicate to the reader what is the problem, why is it a problem, what are the concerns relating to the problem. You're not trying to influence the reader based on the emotion. You're saying this is the evidence that is being found. Right, so the tone, you need to try and adapt your tone to address what it is that you are writing. If you're writing on Facebook, I don't think there are many problems. People don't do spell check, people don't reference. So write according to what it is that you are doing. Right, first person versus third person. Now, I've indicated that you must check the National Qualifications Framework. So if you're honest student, according to the NQF, you are level 8. And at this level, you are expected to demonstrate and apply a method, right? At NQF level 9, if you are a master's student, you expected to apply a research method and possibly develop new intervention. At PhD level, you must develop new knowledge. And these requirements have associated differences. At honors level, you must show, I'm going to study substance abuse. I'm going to go into the community and ask people to do interviews because interviews allow you to be able to speak to people, and then you design your methodology according to the problem that you choose. At master's level and at PhD level, there's different things that are required. So generally, it depends on your university and your supervisor, but generally, at honors level, you tend to write more in the third person. You're reporting. You've read these people, this is how you understand what it is that you have written. At master's and PhD level, you tend to go more towards a first person writing. According to Smith and Jones, that is putting the reference at the front, but also saying, I think this, this, and this. I will use this, this, and this. That's a first person format of writing. And choosing between third person and first person depends on what it is that you're writing, but also what your supervisor and institution expects. Different institutions have different standards, and always try and meet the standards of your institution. Whether you're a student for a normal course that you're doing, a module that you're doing, or whether you're a research student, all provide these. Okay, so protect yourself from identified references sources. These days you have what's it called? Journals that are peer reviewed, they're not credible, they're not verifiable, they're not authentic. And these journals are problematic. So try not to use sources that you can't verify. Now, I've seen many students use, what's it called? Wikipedia. Now, Wikipedia I find is useful when I want to understand something and I don't understand it, then I will Wikipedia it and say, oh, that's what Wikipedia says. But if I'm going to reference for an assignment or for a manuscript or for whatever it is that I'm writing and it's for an academic purpose, I'm not going to use Wikipedia. So I strongly advise all students, especially, try not to use Wikipedia. Verify that the articles and information that you are referencing is credible, verifiable, authentic, and is based on evidence, right? Please make sure that your references are complete. Now, in today's day and age, you can copy the name of the article, paste it in Google Scholar. Google Scholar will give it two commas upside down, and you can copy and paste the reference from there. But I want to warn you, those references are not always complete. You can do it. Most of the time, all the information that you need for your reference list is in Google Scholar. However, who's responsible for your assignment? You are. Who's going to get marks for your assignment? You are. So, do you want to copy and paste a reference without noting that all the information is there? So this is why we're doing the APA 7th edition, so that you are skilled to be able to protect yourself from plagiarism and incomplete references. Now, if you read the manual for referencing from the APA, they say, look, if it's an oversight, maybe you put the first surname second and the second surname first, or it's a year of publication problem, you won't get into serious trouble. But, you know, you want to be a good scholar, a good student, so try and make sure that your references in text and in your reference list is as complete as possible. So, I've copied and pasted the Turnitin. This is what it looks like if you paste something into Turnitin, and it will show you what is your similarity index. Now, Turnitin is not going to tell you you have plagiarized. Your supervisor will open the document from Turnitin and read it. So this is what the document will look like when you have submitted it onto Turnitin. Turnitin will indicate number 2, this is in pink. Number 1, this is in red. And if you click on this icon over here, it will tell you the exact reference for where you could possibly have copied this information from. Now, information online is everywhere. So there's always multiple sources from we copied. The purpose of why I'm showing you this is, as I said at the beginning of this presentation, okay, so 36 minutes past. As I said at the beginning of the presentation, you do not want to copy and paste and change a few words. And as you can see, this paragraph, the second paragraph, It has mostly been copied and pasted, and then a few words have been changed in the sentence. Now, the problem with this, and it comes again back to the problem of paraphrasing, is that the sentence contains the same structure and argument as the original source. And this would be fringing on plagiarism. Right. So, the first part of the presentation, I took you through some of the concerns that students and even myself have been faulted for, and I hope that has been useful. The next part of the presentation, I'm going to speak about in-text citations or references, right? And I'm going to give you a few examples. And these are only examples, but if you go and Google, you will find many PDF documents that help you to reference. So, as I said, capacitate yourself to be better at referencing. This is in your control. This is not something that is science or space science for astronomers. You can do it, I can do it, we all can do it. Some of the rules for in-text citation, please do not put in the whole reference. Journal name shouldn't be in text. Journal number, issue number, names of books, that information should not be in the in-text citation. Right. Please, there is a paragraph in Word. You can either align your text to the left, align your text to the right, or center your text. The fourth option is to justify. Please justify your paragraphs. You know, when a document looks smart, the person reading the document automatically has some sense of, okay, I can trust what is written here. But when a document isn't edited and doesn't look professional because you didn't justify on the right-hand side of your paragraph and make it neat, it does leave a bit of questioning by the person reading your document as to whether or not you took the time to make your document at least look good, right? So, when you are referencing APA 7th edition, you need to make sure that you provide your DOI address. When you provide the DOI address, it's indicated on the right-hand side over here. Here's the DOI address. Copy and paste the full DOI address with DOI, indicate DOI ... and the number. Copy and paste the full information and put it in your reference list, right? When you are providing in-text, this is a journal article. So I want to indicate the following. There is a difference between referencing in-text, in the reference list, referencing a journal article and referencing a book. Right? Please make sure that if you're referencing a journal article in your reference list, that you italicize the name of the journal. If you are referencing a book, the name of the book is always italicized. Right? So here's an example. The name of the article is two short A's and a rolling R. Autoethnographic reflections on difficult name. Right? The writer, Sarah Louise Wheeler. The name of the journal is Sage Open. It was published in July-September 2016, pages 1 to 11. Right, this is the DOI address. Okay, so what do you need to take note? When you are referencing a journal, take note that the surname or family name comes last. Right? If you're unsure, Google other articles that the person has referenced and see what is the last name provided. That is the family name. That is the name that must be provided in text. So, Sarah Louise is the person's first name and second name. Right? What do you call the person? What are you going to call me? Fatima. That is my name. What's my family name? Peters. So, Peters is my sister's surname, my brother's surname, and whoever else that's in my family, that's their surname. It's a family surname. So, when you are referencing inside the text, you must reference the family name and the year of publication. So, as I have said, narrative or story in sentence citation should be surname, space, open brackets, 2016, close brackets. Parenthetical citation, open bracket, surname, comma, space, 2016, close citation. So make sure that with the new APA 7th edition, you must provide a DOI address in the reference list. Right? Please make sure that you take note of what the family name is. Now, if it is family names in contexts that are not familiar, please verify and double check family names. Okay. So, this is the article and this is the information that you need when you are referencing. You can go online and find the information. The name of the journal is Sage Open. The journal volume is 6 and it's all provided on here. Volume number 6, issue number 3. Now, what is a volume number and an issue number? If you think about the South African Journal of Psychology, it's been running for a number of years. Every year, it's a new volume, volume 6, volume 7. So hypothetically, let's say volume 20 is in 2020 and volume 21 is in the year 2021. So the volume is the year in which that journal has been published. But in 1 year, a journal can have multiple issues. Issue 1, issue 2, it might have 4 issues, which means that the journal publishes on a quarterly level. It might have 10 issues. So each journal has a varying number of issues, and you need to make sure that you understand the difference between a volume number and an issue number. The is on the right-hand side here. What is the journal name? The journal name is italicized. What is the page numbers? Now, when you're referencing APA 7th edition in the reference list, you don't always have page numbers. And in that case, you must look on the journal and see what information is provided. If there's no page numbers provided, you can leave that information out, provided that you provide the DOI address. Now for this article, the DOI address is http://doi.org and the long number. Every article is being formatted to have a DOI address so that we can find it online. Okay. So if we are reading a hard copy book or an electronic book, the first page is the cover page, and after that you will find the publication information. On the publication information, here's the name of the university. When is it copyrighted? So the copyright information is the publication date. You must take note of that date. Right? Now, books can have a DOI address. However, there are many books that do not have a DOI address. Right? So take note of that. If you have a DOI address, please provide it. If you do not, it is fine. Okay. So what is the information from the book that you need to take note of? Manganyi is the surname. Chabani is the name. Year of publication is 2016. If you are writing your document, Chabani space open, the year of publication is 2016. That is how it would be written. If you are referencing either foregrounding the reference or backgrounding the reference, it is between brackets, surname, comma, space, 2016, close brackets. Again, take note, if you have a DOI address, please provide it for APA 7th edition. Okay, so as you can see, when you look at the C, it's copyright information. The year of publication is 2016. It is published by Wits University Press. Now, what is different for APA 7th edition in the reference list is that you do not provide the place of publication. Place of publication is removed. As you can see here, Chabani, n.c. space 2016 between brackets and a dot, the name of the book, the making of a black psychologist, full stop, open space, and the publication's name is Wits University Press. So take note, APA 7th edition, no place of publisher needed. Right? Now, when there are multiple authors for an article, do not edit the organization of these surnames. I've had students try and organize it alphabetically. When you are referencing, reference the surnames in the order as indicated on the article. Right? So the order of the surnames on this article is Ratele, Cornell, Dlamini, Hellman, Malherbe, and Titi. That is the order for this article, right? Keep it in that order. However, if you are using multiple references, Ratele space etl.com, your publication for this is 2018. Then the next surname is September, etl.com space 2020. So you will put Ratele first and then September, because S comes after K. Organizing multiple references provided in your in-text citation by surname, but you do not change the references and organization when it is published. This information must remain the same. Okay, so what information do you need to take note of? Firstly, okay, this sentence over here is inaccurate. Anytime after the first time that you anytime you reference more than one reference and it has more than one writer, you use ETL from the first time. APA 7th edition, ETAL from the first time. If it's not one or two authors, 3 and more, ETL from the first time. The year of publication is 2009. The narrative citation would be ET space AL dot, open brackets, year of publication. Notice where the full stop is and notice that it is not italicized, right? If it's between brackets, it's Ratele etal.com 2016. Okay. So,
Miss Peters, just before you on the chat, Leonie is asking if Savannah is not running. I think it's with regards to your previous slide.
and can you ask the question? You cut. I didn't hear.
Is Chabane not the surname? That's your previous slide.
Okay,
You can just
go.
recheck. Yep.
Oh, good pick up. That is it. You are correct. Mangani is the surname. And Chabane is the name. Mangani is the surname. Thank you so much for picking that up. I completely skipped my mind. I shall fix this reference. So, Mangani is the surname that should appear here. Mangani 2016 or Mangani, 2016 between brackets. Very good job. It's excellent that we have students and researchers and academics that are awake in this presentation because it can be quite boring. So thank you so much, Leonie, for picking that one up. Okay. Referencing 3 or more. So as I said, APA 7th edition, 3 or more authors, you use ETAL, which means and others, right? You make sure, for example, here they've provided Salzman, ET space AL dot, your publication. If you are providing a quote, you provide a page number. And as it's indicated on the slide, it's 2015, comma, space, P dot space, and the page on which you will find that particular reference. Right. So make sure that when you're doing your reference list, these days there are people working across countries. I know Dr. Mapuda is in a project, the MAL-8 project, and this project is run across countries. And when people from these projects publish, there is often 20, 30 people that have worked on the particular document. So when you are referencing in your reference list, you provide up to 20 surnames, and then you make dot, dot, dot. Then you provide the last author surname, comma, initial full stop, year of publication. So take note of reference list with more than 20 authors. And you must write all these authors out if you have it, but alternatively make life easy and use Google Scholar. Now, so going back to Ratele, the reference list should look as it is indicating on the right hand side, the surnames, Ratele, comma, space, initial, full stop, comma, space, Cornell, comma, space, J, full stop, comma, space, Dlamini, comma, space, S, full stop, comma, and then there's a space, Hellman, comma, space, R, dot, comma, space, Malherbe, comma, space, in, dot, comma, space, and Titi, comma, dot space, in, dot space, year publication, the name of the article, the name of the journal, journal volume, journal issue, and page number with the DOI address. Okay? Okay. So when you are providing multiple sources, you need to make sure that the sources is in the alphabetical order. Now, this is very common that we can write surnames and forget that it needs to be alphabetical. So Abrams comes first, then Baloy, then Mapura, and the years of publication is associated. If you're writing a narrative reference, then after Abrams, this is one article, then you make a comma. After Baloy, then you have and then Mapura and Takalani. So these would be three different journal articles or books or whatever sources that you are using. And this is how you would organize it alphabetically. This is for the narrative. According to Abrams, Baloy, Mapura, this is in the sentence. When it is in parenthetical, it should be Abrams, 2018. Notice over here the dot with a comma with a dot on top. When you are referencing multiple sources, you must have a comma with a dot on top to separate the different sources that you are using. Okay, so any other referencing format, if you go to the publication manual for the APA, you can reference conference proceedings, artifact, thesis, etc. So please, we do not have the time to be able to go through each and every of these different formats. So my recommendation is please go and either download the manual or download online APA 7th edition so that you can find guidance on this, right? So reference list, I see we only have 8 minutes left. So please organize your reference list from A to Z, alphabetical. Please, when you are referencing, the first surname must be on the left-hand side and you must use the tab button. If you look on your keyboard, it has escape, then a wiggly button with a line, and then the word TAB. Use the tab button to tab second, third, fourth, and every other line in the reference list. So that when you are writing the reference, it looks like this. There's a space over here. So take note, in your reference list, surname, comma, space, initial, dot, year of publication, dot, space, the name of the title of the article, the name of the article. What is the name of the journal? Now, please note, if you've downloaded an article and you don't have the name of the journal, you need to go back and do due diligence and look for the name of the article from which the article you're reading has been published. Please go look for the information and provide it in your reference list. The name of this journal is Nursing Praxis in New Zealand and it is italicized, comma, space, journal number 29. Issue number between brackets 3, comma, space, page numbers from page number to page number, the page that it starts on and the page that it ends on. And then you provide the DOI address as indicated in the second example over here. Here's the DOI address. Remember, the name of the journal must be italicized, right? Articles that are online have a DOI address. They don't always have page numbers. Okay, when you are referencing a book, the name of the book must be italicized. So here you can see Barkway, comma, space, D dot, comma, space, and space, O'Kane, comma, space, D dot, year publication, full stop. The name of the book is Psychology, Introduction for Health Professionals, full stop. There is no place of publication for the publisher. If the book has a DOI address, please provide the DOI address. Okay, reference list for a web page. It should have the author name, the year of publication, the web page title, the website name, and the URL. You do not need to write available at. you can just provide the URL as it is indicating. But remember what I said, make sure that you can go back to the information and still access the information. When you are referencing a book, please make sure that, take note, when you're referencing a chapter in a book, the name of the book is still going to be in italics. So if you read a chapter and the chapter is written by Chand, comma, in initial 2019 year of publication, the name of the chapter is Standardized Turmeric and Cumin. That's the name of the chapter. Full stop. Who are the editors? Now take note, when you are providing editors details, the initials come before the surname. Then in R dot space Gupta, A dot, I can't say that surname, Shrivastava, comma, and the symbol or Lal, editors with a dot, and these are between brackets with a comma. The name of the book in italics, and on what page will you find standardized turmeric and cumin? On pp.3 to 24. And where's the DOI for this? This is the DOI that you will find. Publisher and then the DOI address. So take note, chapter of a book, the book is still italicized and it comes after editors. Okay. When you are referencing a book and a journal, I've said this now many times, please make sure the name of the book is italicized compared to the name of the journal. So as you see here, the name of this book is Mindful Sport Performance Enhanced Mental Training for Athletes and Coaches. That is the name of the book. No place of publisher's name provided. If it is a journal, Journal of Education Psychology is italicized. The DOI address is provided. So plan of action. Capacitate yourself to be the best at referencing. It is one of the most boring things to do, but you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. We all can do it together. Right. So these are the references of the documents that I have used. And thank you so much for being here. It was wonderful doing this for you. It's 1 o'clock. I'm not sure if this will cut or not. Is there any questions?
Yes, I think we'll open up the time for questions. Just one maybe, because our time has elapsed. If we have any. Thank you so much, Ms. Peters, for the wonderful presentation. Just a reminder, do like our page. We have pasted our YouTube page and also the Facebook page. Please do subscribe and like our page as well.
And also, please, can you complete the evaluation form? Yep. Evaluation form, please.
I'm seeing thank yous and thank yous. If there isn't any question, I think we will then declare this meeting dissolved. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for attending. I'm noting our DRM executive